She's not your average chef. In fact, she's a recipe writer, food content creator and food stylist, amongst other things. Her name is Dashania Murugas, and she says becoming a chef gave her a purpose, allowed her to express herself creatively and connect with the people around her. She joins us now via Zoom to take us through her culinary journey. A very good morning to you, Dash. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Now take us back to how this journey started. Where did this relationship with food start and what triggered it?
Well, I always used to cook at home and watch cooking shows. I even think there were probably cooking shows on SABC that I watched. And I really enjoyed it. And so as I grew, I just cooked more and more. And luckily, my parents cook and they would buy ingredients and they'd let me try things out in the kitchen because I know some people's parents can be a bit stricter. But my parents were really cool with that. And even when I made something that didn't taste good, they would still, try it.
So you're basically an experimental cook, hey? You just play around with whatever you find in the kitchen cupboards.
Yes, exactly. And I like using up things that we have in the cupboard because, that's how most people cook. We can't always go to the shop and buy ingredients. Sometimes you have to use what you have.
Yeah. What is it about food and the culinary space that spoke to your soul and sort of gave you a purpose?
Well, I think what I really liked about food and the culinary space was the people around me. I felt I found a place that I could fit in, and I found people that I could relate to, and I really enjoyed what I did. So, I was passionate about it, and so were the people around me. So I think in that sense, I was really lucky.
Okay.
I got to work in restaurants that I loved and that I, when I was studying, I looked at these restaurants and I thought one day I want to work there, and I got to work at those places. So I'm very grateful for that, yeah.
And being a content creator and having worked at restaurants, as I've just mentioned, what would you point out as a career highlight?
I think for me, a career highlight would be I moved to Stellenbosch when I was quite young, and I worked at a restaurant there. And at the time, that restaurant was in the top 10 in SA. And that team was amazing, and I'm so lucky that I got to work with them and learn from them and cook with them. And I think that's really where I learned how to cook, because we weren't just pushing out food, we were cooking for people. And, that's where I really learned to taste what I'm cooking and to make sure what goes out is going out properly. So if food is meant to be hot, it needs to go out hot. We were cooking fresh every single day. We were using different ingredients. Our menu was changing. So I'd have to say, our menu changed every single day. And I've not really heard of other restaurants that do that. It was really stressful working in the kitchen, but a very good experience. That's probably the highlight for me.
And who would you credit for your success? And who was there for you? Encouraging you to follow your dreams?
I think my dad was pretty good. He was the one who said I should go to culinary school. And I couldn't believe it because at the time, all my friends are studying law or, studying accounting, going to university. And here I am just going to culinary school up the road. And he was the one who said, do it because I think this is right for you and you really enjoy cooking.
Okay.
And I remember I used to walk to culinary school every day and walk home from culinary school.
Wow.
And my dad was just like, no, keep doing it. It's going to be fine. And then working in restaurants, the long hours are intense. And if you come out of high school and you start working in a hotel, it's very eye-opening. It's unbelievable. You're working like a 12-hour shift. And you're used to going to school and having a lunch break. And now all of a sudden you're working in this hectic environment where there's a lot of stress, a lot of different people from different places. And you've got to learn how to interact with everyone. It's very hectic.
No prizes for guessing whether your dad loves your food or not. And which one is his absolute favorite? What do you enjoy preparing for him?
I think he enjoys all the food I cook. It's hard to put my finger on just one dish. Okay. But I think I'm pretty good at the Indian stuff just because it is what I grew up with.
Okay.
So like a good lamb biryani or a chicken curry, I think would also do it.
Okay.
And then obviously sweet treats. I think we're all a sucker for something sweet and tasty and delicious.
Yeah, you mentioned biryani, which is one of my favorites. So what's the best way to prepare it?
There's so many different ways.
There's so many
I can't
different,
say that
yeah, I know.
yeah, each family within South Africa, I think, has a different way of making biryani, and like everyone's gran has the best way of making biryani. So I can't say the best way, but I think for me, it's marinating your meat in advance. I think I shared a recipe with you that uses sour cream. So you want to use a little bit of dairy in there. I know some people use amasi. You can use buttermilk. You can use sour cream. It just helps tenderize the meat. Then obviously making sure that you have good quality spices is always important. You know, people think you can keep spices in your cupboard for months, and you can't. You know, spices lose flavor the longer you keep them. So
True.
it's actually better to buy smaller bits of spices. You'll get more flavor.
Now, at what point did you realize that you could be more than just a chef in the industry, in your case, a recipe writer, food content creator, and food stylist?
So I really loved working in restaurants. I really did. But you realize that you start missing out on everything. You miss birthdays, you miss weddings, you miss important events. You basically live with a chef's life is with chefs, and you miss out on everything else. Like your off days on a Monday, you know. So when you're off, everyone else is busy. And I looked at that and I thought, well, there must be some way that I can still do what I love,
Yes.
but also be a part of everyday life and not have to miss out on everything. And that's how I came to writing recipes and content creation.
Okay.
In fact, the food content creation, I would say, started when COVID started, because I wasn't able to do events and cook as much as I used to. And then I also needed to shoot content for myself. And that's how I started learning how to shoot my own content. And then people would call me and ask me to shoot content for them. And I'm like, well, I just started. Are you sure? And then they'd say, yes, we really love your content. And then that's how that started. So I would say that actually started because of COVID.
What does being a food stylist entail? I mean, take us through the day in the life of a food stylist.
So a food stylist, I started assisting food stylists. So when I left kitchens, I started writing recipes for restaurants and helping them train their staff. But then I also had a couple of days in the week available. And so I started assisting food stylists. So the best way to start food styling is to assist food stylists. It's not an easy industry to be in. It is quite difficult to navigate because there's just a few people, and it's not always as open as maybe working in restaurants. So you'd assist food stylists. Then from there, I would say you need to start styling yourself. And in today's age with digital marketing, say it's you could do it yourself. You know, get your phone and just start arranging ingredients and arranging food on a table and start shooting that, because you need to practice. I think for me, once I started doing it myself, because it seems quite scary to arrange something in a way that it looks good on camera. But it's all about practice, so just start practicing that. And that's what I did. And then I got a camera and I was able to shoot myself, and I was able to do more. I'm not just waiting for people to contact me for a shoot. I'm actually shooting myself, for myself. And people just saw my work on my Instagram or on my website, and then they always ask me to shoot for them, and that's it. That's how it happened.
You know, Dash, I just love your passion in the kitchen. It's now clear that you are born to cook. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, Dashania Murugas is a chef, recipe writer, food content creator, and food stylist, and she was taking us through her culinary journey. Now, Dash says becoming a chef gave her a purpose, allowed her to express herself creatively and connect with the people around her.